It's Wednesday, November 17. This is the news on PBCJ. I'm Carol Francis. COVID restrictions have been eased across Jamaica, although some remain in place. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement in Parliament on Tuesday. We have the details in this report.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the new curfew and other COVID-19 restrictions will remain in effect until December 10.
Starting on Thursday, November 18th, the curfew hours will be from 9 p.m. nightly to 5 a.m. the following morning. This will remain in effect until 5 a.m. on December 10, 2021. Madam Speaker, the limit on the number of persons in attendance at a place of worship will be increased from the current limit of 50 to 100 persons. Yes, to providing, of course, that the social distance requirement is met. So the ceiling is 100, regardless of how large your enterprise is, but you are always subject to whatever is the social. So if your church, with the social distance requirement, which were in the previous in the previous orders, if your church can only hold 40 people properly distanced, then that is what your church can hold. But we have gone up to now 100. Obviously, Madam Speaker, no crusades, no conferences, no conventions at this time. The number of persons permitted to physically attend a wedding will be increased similarly. And of course, if the space in which you are can't take 100 persons, you are subject to the social distancing rule. But if the venue is large, maximum of 100 persons.
Mr. Holness says the COVID pre-testing requirement, antigen or PCR for travelers to Jamaica, remains in effect.
The existing travel protocols for fully vaccinated persons require them to quarantine for 8 days following their arrival in Jamaica, or to take a PCR test after their arrival at their own expense to be released from quarantine. So, effective November 18th, fully vaccinated persons who obtain a PCR test as their pre-test prior to travel will not be required to conduct another PCR test after arrival in order to be released from quarantine.
The Prime Minister says the government has no plans to shut down the country again as his administration pivots to guide the country to live with what is now an endemic phase of the virus's spread.
It is the greatest conundrum I find myself in, Madam Speaker, to promulgate measures to keep people safe, but to have people quarrel about those measures. So we're cautiously, as I said, cautiously taking them down slowly but surely, keeping the warnings that we are not out of the pandemic, we are moving into a new phase, and we have to still maintain our caution, and that the only way out of it is to get vaccinated.
He says his team is also looking at eventually having only a fixed number of hospital beds designated for COVID-19 patients, so as to relieve the strain on other health services.
We cannot continue to dedicate virtually the entire capacity of the health system to dealing only with COVID-19 to the detriment of all other legitimate health system users.
Jamaica has recorded over 90,000 cases of the coronavirus COVID-19 since March 10 last year, and more than 2,000 COVID-19 related deaths.
Explore Do Business Jamaica's two-day virtual investment conference began on Wednesday, November 17. Hosted by Jamaica Promotions Corporation's JAMPRO, the conference is designed to spur economic growth and recovery.
In a tangible way, trade can be a force for good that can help address the multidimensional vulnerability of many countries, including small island developing states. Trade, but more precisely trade rules, can support the establishment of good regulatory practices and standards. Trade should prepare us for a post-COVID economic recovery. Trade rules must help us prepare for future health crises and trade rules must help in solving the scourge of the unsustainable depletion of global fish stocks.
Jamaica has remained very stable, and investors have felt very comfortable even during the very disruptive time of the pandemic.
In April to June quarter of this year, Jamaica's economy expanded by 12.9%, and we are experiencing growth and diversification in manufacturing, business process outsourcing, tourism, agriculture, and agro-processing. In early October, ratings agency Standard & Poor's revised Jamaica's rating outlook from negative to stable, with a view that our country's economic recovery will strengthen and that the government finances will return to surplus this year.
Crafton Holdings Limited is the country's sole manufacturer and distributor of pasteurized liquid eggs. The operators of the company have exploited changes in technology to enhance the production potential of Jamaica's egg and small ruminant industries on their 117-acre farm in St. Mary. Following a tour of the farm by Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries Audley Shaw, the director of Crafton Holdings Limited and Crafton Farms, Damien Crawford, put forward a 5-year plan for the development of a model goat farm industry. He also unveiled a new way to enjoy Mannish water in a few minutes. Marlon Samuels has the details.
Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries Audley Shaw recently toured Crafton Farms in St. Mary. The farm has an automated egg collection system. It reduces time and labor costs. It also contributes to optimum egg quality, cleaner eggs, and fewer cracked ones. Of note is the fact that Crafton Farms is the only provider of pasteurized liquid eggs in Jamaica.
We send it through a heating process, through pasteurization, that removes the possibility of salmonella and E. coli. Now, those are the #1 source of foodborne illness in the hotels.
The farm, which was producing up to 500 cases of eggs per week prior to the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, cracked under the weight of the pandemic. There is no cracking demand for eggs.
Why Jamaicans prefer brown birds? They were the original layer. So genetic modification calls for the white bird to lay more and eat less. So Jamaicans say it's a lab fowl, but it's just a later lab fowl. The brown one is a lab fowl too.
The 117-acre farm is fully integrated. Plans are advanced to put in a fish pond and crops.
Across there now, where you see the flat land, we're going to put in 5 acres of onions. And again, RADA has been very kind to say they give out the seeds. So any farmer can get the seed from RADA to do the onions. So that's a start and the guidance. So they have been here as well, do the soil test and everything for me. So, and it's not just because it's me. That is the general operation of the thing.
The farm is also home to herds of goats kept safe by electric fences. Electric fencing is also used to subdivide pastures. This allows for rotational grazing. Following the tour, Mr. Crawford outlined a raft of plans for a model goat farm industry.
Members will have access to vet services, members will have access to training, members will have access to guaranteed market, goats will be slaughtered in ISO HACCP certified abattoir, access to feed, especially in types of drought. In 5 years, the cluster will provide housing of over 5,000 doors and provide over 200,000 pounds of meat, if we should do 1,000 to all these people. Program will reduce the slaughtering of fertile doors, proper gene management through centralized breeding. Crafton will establish a model of industry exponential increase. Crafton owners will establish safe goat milk production and distribution, and we're the only goat farm that owns a pasteurizer, and so we think we are in good stead.
I'm so happy that I came here today. I feel inspired by what you're doing. And the truth is, for us to really get on a new platform for sustainable growth and wealth creation, we need many, many more projects like this one. Congratulations, I'm proud of you. Thank you.
He also unveiled plans for Mannish water on demand.
And I think we need to big up a project that Damien has. Mannish water, canned Mannish water, right? This can become a product that is not just sold in Jamaica, but can be sold to our diaspora in Canada, in America, in the United Kingdom, where Jamaicans are. Mannish water in a can. And you know what that can join now? Damien, I don't know if you know this. And you need to know because you are in the business. 4 or 5 months ago, the National Geographic magazine of the United States declared Jamaica's ackee and saltfish as one of the 10 best dishes in the world. They listed it as number 2, right? But we only sell ackees in cans without cooking it as a finished product with saltfish.
With saltfish, yes.
It's time for us to...
So finished meal, sir.
So sell Mannish water in the can, sell saltfish and ackee in the can. And guess where the market is? The world.
For the news on PBCJ, I am Marlon Samuels.
The Bank of Jamaica, BOJ, says it's not involved in the award of prize money for any mobile phone competition. The disclaimer follows reports of a fraudulent message claiming the bank is offering prize money in the form of a check for a mobile phone competition. Anyone with information about the source of the fraudulent message is asked to report the matter to the nearest police station. Jamaicans 50 years and older are now able to access the first and second doses of the Pfizer vaccine. Members of the public are encouraged to make an appointment using the Ministry of Health and Wellness's website at www.moh.gov.jm. That's www.moh.gov.jm. You can also call the National Vaccination Call Center at 888-1-LOVE. That's 888-663-5683. Please take along a government-issued identification, school ID for students, or letter from a Justice of the Peace and a vaccination card. The ministry is continuing to administer the AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson vaccines to persons 18 years and older. The Jamaica Public Service JPS plans to install an electric vehicle charger at the Texaco gas station in New Kingston. We'll hear more about the charge and go and get the latest market summary from Gabriel Thompson in today's edition of the Business Report.
On Monday, the Jamaica Public Service Company Limited, JPS, announced it signed an agreement with the GB Energy Texaco for the first installation of electric vehicle chargers at select service stations. The first charging station will be at Texaco's New Kingston location on Trafalgar Road and will be open to the public by the end of next month. The signing ceremony took place recently at GB Energy's head office in New Kingston. Speaking at the event, JPS Senior Vice President for Customer Services Ramsey MacDonald disclosed that the company was pleased to be forging an alliance with the energy giant. He said the time is ripe for a continued build-out of charging stations in key locations across the island. For his part, CEO of GB Energy Texaco, Mr. Belazabo, also pointed to the timeliness of the development, as some car manufacturers have already indicated that they will cease to produce cars which use internal combustion engines starting as early as the mid-2020s. In a release, JPS said it has been laying the groundwork for a sustainable environment for the electrification of transportation in Jamaica and has set a target of one electric vehicle charging station to be accessible within a 30-mile radius wherever any commuter is in the island. The utility provider says it has already constructed 5 electric charging stations, 3 of which are operational. In May, JPS commissioned the first public electric vehicle charging station on the island. In foreign exchange trading for Wednesday, November 17, the US dollar sold for an average $156.38. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $125.26. The pound sterling traded for $207.77, and the euro sold for an average $177.65. In Tuesday's trading session, the JSE Combined Index advanced by 2,351 points to close at over 402,000 units. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 94 stocks, of which 39 advanced, 43 declined, and 12 traded firm. The junior market index declined by 4 points to close at over 3,000 units. Stocks advanced for 1834 Investments Limited, Access Financial Services Limited, and AMD Packaging and Paper Company Limited. Stocks declined for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, Berger Pence Jamaica Limited, and Cargo Handlers Limited. Trading firm were Carreras Limited, Dolphin Cove Limited, and Epley Limited. Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares was the volume leader with over 2.1 million units, followed by Future Energy Source Company Limited ordinary shares with over 2 million units, and Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with over 2 million units. In market data for oil, prices dropped on Wednesday after U.S. gasoline stocks fell more than expected last week, which could heighten pressure on the Biden administration to release oil from emergency reserves to cap soaring gasoline prices. Brent crude futures fell 72 cents or 0.9% to $82.71, erasing a 38-cent gain from Tuesday. West Texas Intermediate crude futures fell 76 cents or 0.9% to $80 a barrel, extending a 12-cent loss from Tuesday. U.S. President Joe Biden has been considering releasing oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve SPR to cool gasoline prices, which hit a record high at California pumps this week. Lawmakers, however, have mixed views on whether it is needed. And with that, we close this Wednesday edition of the Business Report Inside the News on PBCJ. I'm Gabrielle Thompson. Pleasant viewing.
The historic 121-year-old Norwegian tall ship is in Port Royal for 4 days. The fully rigged ship, which was initially built to train young people for the merchant marine, is now a floating ambassador for Norway. The ship, which arrived from Curacao, is docked at the historic naval dockyard and is on a 20-month world tour. The goal is to share knowledge about the role of the ocean for a sustainable future. On leaving Jamaica, the tall ship will make 34 other ports of calls, including Cuba and the Bahamas.
Way, ho, away, we'll haul away, Joe. Away, haul away, we'll haul for better weather.
People of all ages and from all walks of life have suffered tooth loss due to tooth decay, periodontal disease, or an injury. In the past, treatment options were limited to bridges and dentures. Now, persons have the option of getting dental implants. In this Living Healthy report, Dr. Heather Lawson-Myers of Ligony Family Dental tells us all about dental implants.
Welcome to another episode of HD's Jazz. We're in season 4, and today we're going to be talking about securing the underground. I am enjoying the best of both worlds. The beautiful, majestic mountains to my left, and behind me, the sleek, modern buildings of downtown Kingston. You know, have you ever wondered how those buildings are able to remain so stable? It's because they have a significant foundation below the ground. It's the same thing in the mouth when you're putting in tooth replacements. Have you ever heard of the term dental implants? Simply put, It's a metal screw replacing the root of a tooth. If it's firmly embedded in the bone, then we can build a tooth on it that looks very much like the teeth you already have in your mouth. A dental implant is a great alternative to replace a tooth with a permanent, long-standing, extremely aesthetic option. So just as how those sleek modern buildings need a secure underground to ensure that they stand up for a good long time, so too in the mouth we need to ensure that implants are secured in strong, healthy bone to last for a good long time. Listen, catch us next time on Facebook, YouTube, or our website at LFD. See you next time on HD's Jazz.
In regional news, one political analyst in Trinidad and Tobago is expressing surprise that Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley took the decision to conclude the state of emergency earlier than its natural end at the close of November.
He is looking forward to a full explanation in Parliament.
The position was that it had served its purpose, and primarily the purpose was designed to have an impact on the pandemic and the spread of the infection. So wait tomorrow's debate in the Parliament. I think the Minister of Health and the Prime Minister will be able to actually lay on the table reasons as to why the decision to bring it to a premature end 2 weeks before the expiration date.
Dr. Basdio says that treating with the possible spread of the virus through health regulations once the SOE is ended may be a solution for the problem.
Maybe persons are not serious about the full impact. I've read in the newspapers today that the Minister of Health had made a statement that there will be amendments or adjustments to the health regulations. So one expects that with the ending of the state of emergency tomorrow in the Parliament, the amendment or the amended regulations would come into force.
Over in St. Lucia, opposition leader Alan Chastanet's absence from House sittings could cost him in the pocket. House Speaker Claudius Francis, in an unprecedented move, made it clear that the former Prime Minister's non-attendance without a valid reason in keeping with the House rules will not be tolerated.
Opposition leader and Micoud South MP Alan Chastanet has some 2 weeks to present a valid reason for his absenteeism from Parliament after the House Speaker ordered that his salary be withdrawn for the period of his non-attendance in the lower house. Chastanet on Tuesday made his first appearance in the House since the Philip J. Pierre administration was sworn into office and the start of the new legislative term. He has come under fire for taking vacation leave while being paid to represent constituents. House Speaker Claudius Francis, a stickler for upholding the Constitution, provided a comprehensive overview for the basis of his decision to dock the opposition leader's pay for his time away. Chastanet has until November 30th, 2021 to hand in a proper explanation.
I will make an order that the member from Micoud South be denied remuneration for the period of his absence. The member and I have had a discussion earlier today, as a consequence of which I will stay this order for a further 2 weeks to allow him a second opportunity so to do. Otherwise, this order shall take effect on November 30th, 2021.
Francis revealed that the denial of constituency fees was also on the table, but was, however, reconsidered.
But I am aware that such an order would negatively impact employees located within the constituency office and would also bring unnecessary dispute between the office of the Parliament and the utility companies which services the office. Whilst the lease for such an office is of course between the landlord and the parliamentary representative, it is the office of the parliament which meets the cost of the utility services. Consequently, my order will not extend further than the personal emoluments of the member.
The House Speaker explains that although he received correspondence from the Miku South MP, he believes that the reasons for his absenteeism was not adequate.
Unfortunately, the notes gave no reason other than being out of state for his absence. The only communication upon which a speaker can take comfort and cognizance is what is officially sent to the Parliament, whether to the clerk or to the speaker. Whatever is said elsewhere is of no moment to the office of the Parliament and can form no part in the Speaker's determination. The notes of the member for Miku South merely informing the office of the Speaker that, quote, I'll be out of state and will not be able to attend the above sitting of the House, unquote, cannot meet the standard, quote, to obtain due leave of absence stated in Standing Order 80. Consequently, having read the notes sent to the clerk, which I repeat are the only documents upon which I can properly base a decision, I am not satisfied that the member for Miku South's absence was unavoidable.
Moving forward, Speaker Francis has made it abundantly clear that he will not tolerate the violation of House rules, the Constitution and Convention by any member of the House. Tuesday's ruling is unprecedented in the annals of not just St. Lucia, but the entire OECS. This is the first time in the country's history that an MP has been accused of defying the spirit of the House rules in such a manner. Joachim Duplessis, HTS News Force.
And impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of St. Lucia. So help.
And in sports, we kick off with football. The Reggae Boys clash with the United States ended in a 1-1 draw at the National Stadium on Tuesday. Premature struck the opener for the Americans in the 11th minute. However, Michael Antonio's spectacular 30-yard strike brought the Reggae Boys level in the 22nd minute. Jamaica's Damian Lowe planted one in the goal with 7 minutes left on the clock, but it was ruled a foul. The draw lifts Jamaica to 5th place in the 8-team CONCACAF qualifying table with 7 points. In January of this year, Trinidadian boxer Michael Alexander was involved in a motorcycle accident that nearly took his life. While he has come a long way with his recovery over the past months, he is in need of surgery that will cost $15,000 to help him get back on his feet. Ken Fuentes of TTT Live spoke with Mr. Alexander.
One of the most decorated boxers in this country, Alexander has remained positive throughout his ordeal. And first of all, is simply giving thanks for life.
Right now, I thank God that he gave me a second chance in life because this was a tragic accident. This goes for all athletes, even if they're with injury, it doesn't matter what it is. You know, I would like to see Trinidad and Tobago show more support when it comes to the athletes, but they don't, because they don't really know what they go through to represent their country.
And while he fights for his country in the ring, for Alexander, the greatest battle for him is getting support needed for his recovery outside the ropes.
From at this point in my life right now, I find it's been very hard because, you know, athletes have been representing the country and bring back a lot of hardware for Trinidad and being in the world rankings and stuff. And it's like say something happened to them, this is from my perspective. Say something happened to you, it's like you have to run behind your own country for the support to help you. And that's very unfair.
He is thankful for the TTOC and its president, Brian Lewis, for their continued support.
The only people has hardly support, who has supported me so far and trying the best is the Olympic Committee, especially Mr. Brian Lewis. To me, and most of the other athletes in Trinidad and Tobago, most likely he's like a father figure to everyone. So, you know, he'll try his hardest once where he can stretch. But other than that, you know, I've been just trying to get better.
The Commonwealth Games bronze medalist is looking forward to getting back in the ring.
Yes, of course. I would overcome this challenge because at the start, they tell me I most likely wouldn't be able to walk again and stuff. And look, here I am, I can walk, I can exercise and stuff. The only thing I have to do now, I have a pinched nerve in my brachial plexus, and that is it. Have to do is have to organize to get a surgery on it, and I'll be back out in my sport.
Kent Fuentes, TTT Sports.
And that's our package. Join us again tomorrow, same time, same place, for more news and sports right here on PBCJ, the People's Station.